Hey people, it's Steel Gamer, and this is Assassin's Creed Origins, me finishing up some achievements that I wanted to finish up to get some more points, so when somebody purchased me Far Cry 5, I can probably get a discount on it by using the Uplay credits. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start over a brand new game, and then use all of the points that I have after I boost the character to basically to set out what I need to do in the ability trees and stuff, so I can actually get these achievements. I tried using the Animus control panel, but that didn't work out too well. So what I basically have to do is go through the entire process at the beginning of the game again to get by this, to get to a specific point, so I can actually get to be able to boost my character. So it's going to take me a few minutes just to get to.
You are the Magi from
Lucky for me, I know exactly what I'm doing. So you'll start to see that I have all sorts of like ability points and everything else purchased, which I'll show. Yes, it's ridiculous.
Your master was a murderer.
I am his sworn bodyguard. It's a question
I'm going to try to
of
get
honor.
through this as painless as I can.
I am the Magi of Siwa.
Then you are a worthy opponent.
15 ability points is ridiculous. And so I've said that to people plenty of times before. They asked me, it's like, how did I get that many ability points? Well, the gold edition was on sale, so I purchased it, which gives you 3 ability points and 500 Helix credits. So then I purchased 3 more ability points from the Helix store with the Helix credits, and then I used some stuff on the prepaid credit card that I had left over. I should say the disposable prepaid credit card left over, and then I was able to purchase about 9 more ability points.
Won't save you. This place will serve as doom to one of us. Let it be you.
So I'm just going to basically skip everything I need to do, simply because
Question of honor. It is a
there's no
fight to
reason
the death.
for me to actually do them all.
So be it.
I don't need to like loot the entire treasures or anything else. I'm just using the ability points to get exactly what I need.
Anubis awaits you.
So, in case anybody wanted to know, anything you purchase from the store gets carried over. So, let's see which way we go. Is it over here? Yeah, it's over
No
here.
way out. These scarabs must be coming from somewhere.
How did I get 4,000 drachma? I didn't purchase drachma from the store. Why is this giving me this? That doesn't even make any sense. I'm gonna wait till all these screens are off of all these things are off of the screen here. Location of stone circles. The stone circles I did. The hermit locations I did, and the tomb locations I've done as well. Is that gonna be the end of it, or is there still more? All right, so let me go into my inventory here. My gear and my ability. See, I have like 16 ability points, but when I boost it, I'm going to have 10 times more. So I'm not even going to bother worrying about this until I boost. I'm not going to assign any, like, type. Well, anyway, you know what? I really should do some ability points. Let me do some gear here. Why do I have, like, crafting material? I didn't buy crafting material. Like, there's things that I'm getting that I didn't even purchase. That's ridiculous. Let's see here. Yeah, this is all common sense stuff. Let me see. Fire resistance, range resistance, adrenaline on parry, poison on block. I'd rather have that because it's got range resistance and fire resistance. So now let's go in here and see what's going on with this. Box fall. Hope. So why don't I just put this in there? Let me grab this. Use the Eternal Vigil. Hey buddy, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I'm just finishing up some achievements. I need to actually see what I need to get, so when I when I do this, I'm actually just going to boost my character to generate the amount of points I need, and then go to the Hidden Ones DLC and start generating what I need to do to get these abilities, these achievements. Because I guess I have one that does something to do with I need to smash somebody in the face with an arrow from 60 yards away while controlling it. They're all basic things that I didn't choose on my main character to as the abilities. And well, not everything, but most of the stuff I need to do has to do with abilities that I don't actually have on my main character because I didn't want to do it. So I figured to get them, I'll just do it on a different character. So let me see, Derek Cobra's good. I'm just changing stuff in here. So I'm actually going to do a few things here. Yeah, I'm going to do Weapon Bearer. Then I'm going to do Bow Bearer, I think. I need to get Bow Bearer out of this. Then I need Dawn and Dusk. These are stuff that I would have put in there anyway, but I need to get to. Like, I need to tame a lion, so I can't do anything without, you know, unless I have sleeping darts. So I need to get these things, which I'm going to wind up with an assload of more ability points once I do. Because I started off with 16 anyway, because the Gold Edition gives you them, and then I purchased more with the Helix credits. I explained this at the beginning, so since I can't tame an animal without doing this. I tried using the Animus control panel with this, but it won't allow you to do it. So you literally can't take any shortcuts at all. So I'm gonna kind of go after the stuff I need to do. Like I need to attack a guy in the air with a bow. I need to do a slow motion bow shot with enhanced predator bow, which means I gotta get these. I have to get these abilities anyway. So I need to do eagle harass because I need to kill a guy harassing them with sinew. Alright, enhanced hunter bow. And just for you guys to know, viewers, I'm actually upgrading my internet speed. I think it should be available Monday or Tuesday, or the 1st of May. I'm upgrading it, so I'm going to wind up with a really, really high-end ability to upload, so the quality of my streams are going to get jacked up really good. Alright, holding R2 will charge a bow, break shield, nope. Enhanced predator bow. I need to get this for the ability. I wish if I didn't have to worry about this stuff, I wouldn't have. By the way, that's a really good ability. I was messing around with that with the tree. Headshot XP. No, I don't need that stuff. Don't need that stuff. So I need to get I need to get tame these guys. I need to get that. I need to get smoke screen to tame animals. So that's one. Tame animal. Oh, shit, I need 3 points for that. Okay, so that's alright, I'll just wait. So I'm blazing through this as quick as I can. A volt. Oh, no, I did not. Thank you. Hold on. That should fix the problem. Thank you, by the way. I was actually doing I was doing something for the Division to add it to my channel for something.
Centuries upon centuries ago.
I never switched off the EXE for that. Sorry about that. Yep. So basically, what I was doing really doesn't matter anyway, because I'm just breezing through the beginning of this. I'm just going through and doing all the bare bones so I can get into the Hidden Ones DLC. Because I can't do any of these. I'm trying to get the basic achievements for this. And like I said, I tried using the Animus control panel to bypass some of the things, but everything is shut off when you do that, like leaderboards, achievements, everything. Right. So there's no real way for you to actually go ahead and do it with the Animus control panel, which makes sense. But, and like I said, I don't know if anybody was in this stream just a few minutes ago, but what I'm winding up doing is, on May 1st, my internet speed's getting jacked up really high, and I did it on purpose because I'm getting notifications from people that, for some random reason, apparently my YouTube channel is something unique. I don't want to say it's unique, but the stuff I do on my YouTube channel is absolutely nobody else does, because nobody else does what I do. So it's actually quite interesting to realize that, you know.
Get him! Die! Watch out!
To see that stuff.
Is that you?
So I'm only finishing up some achievements.
You're telling me?
Oh, you know what I think I need to do? I think I need to get I think I need to jack up enemies that have I'm gonna wait till this goes through. What the hell did I just pick that up? I have to change my I think I have to jack up the enemies to yeah, they're not on our level.
So
That's cheap. Wow, that's really cheesy. I just got an ass load of XP and then I reset it, and then they're all here again, so I'm gonna wind up with more XP. That's cheap.
die! Watch out!
Fire! Is that you? It is an ambush!
You are telling me?
There's the Magi. Kill him. His friend, and I'll take care of the Magi. You are safe.
There we go. Batter up.
That wind.
So yeah, I really should have saved the character that I had that I already done this on. Because I just need to do. I think I need to kill the main boss. So if I just go after the main boss of this area,
It has been difficult.
I forget his name. I should be able to bypass that and then go back to the main menu and boost my character. It won't let me do it until I get out of the Animus for the first time. The only way to do that is to.
Ptolemy wants the entire region kept under heel. I do my best to keep the villagers out of trouble.
The only way to do that is to
I could use your help.
I'll do what I can.
get into the Animus, I guess.
Do not forget, I have my own justice to pursue.
I should
knew
have
I
really
could
kept
count on you,
the
Sammy.
game save. I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah, as I said, on May 1st, that's the earliest I guess the technician can come out.
What's
The
up with
internet
you?
speed that I'm getting, I
The
guess
garrison
apparently a
soldiers
tech
are
has to
brutal.
actually come out and
They
install
suspect the
something
villagers
that
lying to
you
them
just
with
can't turn
guns
on from the cable
and
office.
worse.
So I'm gonna go from this type of quality up to really pretty good quality. It's not the best, but it's gonna be much better than what it is. So I'm getting a, I guess apparently the upload speed is a 35 megabyte upload speed, compared to I only have a 5 megabyte upload speed right now. So if I have a 5
Welcome
megabyte
home,
upload speed
buddy.
right now, and my
See what
quality's,
happens.
you know, for the most part, pretty, it's okay. It's gonna go really, really, really good compared to what I'm, you know, compared to what I have then. So yeah, I'm only going after the basic main quest in this.
Your goods, your children.
Villages are drained of life.
No one in the
It's a
White
good thing I knew how to play this, huh?
Question, threatened, taxed or beat. We all have learned. to
Oh, if y'all
obey
want to hear something
by
funny,
instinct.
I had a bunch of people going out of their minds with the stream of the Division I was doing the other night.
Clear the way.
On the stream of the Division the other night, oh gosh, that was terrible.
Are you going to
Oh,
go
by
to
the
your
way,
house?
somebody's purchasing me the gold edition of Far Cry 5.
Tell me about the Ibis.
Met
It won't
you.
be. I don't think it'll be for like another week or something.
He is the
Now, I
player
don't. Here's the
of
interesting thing. I don't play
As you can
first-person
see,
games.
the
I
soldiers
don't
have
like
become
them.
more brutal
But
since he arrived.
if the
Before
right
they
one
got
comes
drunk
along,
and
I'll
fought with
play it.
villages.
So I've played Borderlands
Now that
because I
the
like the
new
way
one
it's
is
put
here,
together.
they are disciplined.
And when it comes down to turn-based games,
All
I
the
don't
more
like
reason
those
to
either.
kill him.
However, Divinity
Do not
Original
take him
Sin,
lightly.
it was done
He is
for my
lean and
liking.
sinewy,
So I don't want to say it was done
but
right,
very
but it was done to my liking. So I actually wound up playing that. Oops. get rid of all this crap here. I
Leave your
forgot how
mark.
long
You
the
will not
intro to
stray
this
far.
is.
Go ahead, Oni.
Oh, man.
Best spot to hit is right in the head. One of the dummies is sturdier than the other.
I still love how you hear him say, "Don't let anybody leave," and then he's Shimoda, I only want to talk.
Nick! They will find my letters and burn down my place. I will be executed.
It's too bad America doesn't operate like this anymore. Somebody comes
Watch out.
around to your friend's house, you just basically take them out.
Who's there?
Keep low.
It's funny.
He is getting too close.
Now for the rest of them.
He's going to be surprised.
Can you see up the soldier's crotch? Oh, you can. That's hilarious. I should take a screenshot of that. Right in the face.
Do not leave the bodies out in the open.
I guess I can use smoke right now. That's awesome.
Very sneaky.
Whoops. That's really bad how you die at the first end of this. That's awesome. Yeah, start this crap over. That's really bad. That's terrible. This is how not to play Assassin's Creed Origins. This is how you don't play. Where are these guys? These guys dead? I mean, what am I doing here? Oh, I gotta go over here. There we go.
They think they can have
He's going to be surprised.
Stay low. Do not leave the bodies out in the open. They will not see him here.
Let's try this, ready? Yeah, I'm swinging the wrong way. Got all of them? No, I got one more. I don't even care about this guy. This guy's gonna get his ass handed to me. How's it going, buddy? Welcome to the stream, man. That's terrible.
Thank you,
That is
Bob.
absolutely horrible.
I told you these Mechadeadids do
That's
not
really
care.
bad. I like died at the beginning of this. This is terrible.
It is sad. Come upstairs. I will show you all the Magi duties of
Why
Sin.
can I duck down but I can't move? That's just messed up.
All the problems of
Alright, so
Siwa
let's see here.
are here.
All the problems in Siwa are
I will
here.
find him and
Yep,
kill him.
whatever. I don't even care what you're saying. Alright, so let's see here.
This will
I
work.
love how you can't move yet.
A solid breastplate. That
Alright, so now I get 3 of them, so that should allow me to get the other ability in the tree for what I need. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream, man.
when you get a chance, take a look at my table. Some villagers need
Alright, so let me
help.
see. I gotta find the main quest here, because that's the guy I gotta kill. So if I go to quest and then I go here, find and kill. Okay, so I gotta go kill this guy. So let's see.
Better look in.
I got bow bearer, right? So let me see here. Do I have an ability I do? Okay, so what was I going to do here? I was going to flesh decay. I was going to tame animals. So I know I need that to actually do that. Alright, so that works. Sorry guys, I'm just mentally talking to myself about the ability, the achievements I need to get. Yeah, I don't give a crap about this. Good view. Yep, whatever. So, I got a bow now. I think I have 2 of them, right? Yeah, I can. Okay, I can equip 2 of them. So let me see here. Crescent Moon is one of them, and then I need to do Lord of Bones. Is that the stealth? Yeah, that's the stealth one. All right. So now I need to equip a secondary weapon. So let me use this here, the Fang. That's poison on hit, critical hit damage. That's combo multiplier, instant charging. That's a tough one. So let me do that here. Let me put this here. Alright, so that's good. Health on hit, sleep on hit. I loved that weapon. That weapon was so good. I want to be able to block shit and break through shields. I'm just going to go up and kill this guy. And then I think it's going to knock me out of this, and then I can go into the Animus and come back in. I think that's right. Nice. Jeez.
Thank a moon ray. Bayek has returned to the oasis.
So if I'm correct, sorry, I'm talking to myself. If I'm correct, this will give me, knock me out of the Animus, and then I can get back in. I'll go back to the main menu, boost my character, go to the hidden ones, and start getting some of these things finished. Alright, that makes sense.
Must be careful now.
Because I'll be able to get, I don't even know how many more ability points. It's like 45 or something.
Leave it to me, Harry. Together. Wait a minute. Dying worm.
Thanks, man. How's it going?
The neb is hit.
Shoot.
I have you! Die! Dirty now!
That's not gonna work. Oh, crap. That's not good.
After him! That's...
When you prick. Get out of there, man.
On my way.
That guy gone? Nope, he's over there.
There you are.
Come here, ass. Where is he going? Like, what is this thing doing? Here you go, ready? Right in the face. Wait, missed him. Whoops, he hit me too, damn. Where is he? Where is he? Wait. What the hell are these guys doing? Alright, so now I think if I do that, I'm alright with that. So I gotta go confirm him. I think this is the guy I have to kill. Yeah, I think once I do this, it'll knock me out of the Animus. I can get out. Oh, you know what? I gotta go through a friggin' sequence about hunting in the desert. I forgot about that. Socrates. That's an awesome name. It's like my...
You have
I'm playing an Egyptian game, and he comes out with Socrates. That's awesome.
Finished.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream, man.
So very close to ushering in the perpetual rule of the strong and virtuous.
I really wish to God you could skip this.
What will give us the power of the gods? What is one boy?
What is one boy?
Papa?
Yeah, I can't leave CY yet. That's right. Yeah, so here comes the thing about the.
What are we hunting?
The Oracle wants the pelt of an ibex stag for this.
Don't know if that's a bot or whatever, but thanks, buddy. If it's a bot, I'm talking to a bot. If it's a human, I just said thanks.
When I'm
Either way, I just said
I'll stand
thanks.
next to the pharaoh. You'll never be Magi.
too scared. That's not true. What about the hyena kid? Shut up.
Enough, you two.
I really wish you could run in this, and I wish to God they would
Sometimes they
allow
light
you
on
to use the
fire.
Animus control
It makes it
panel. I would
faster.
already be there.
I want my feet to light on fire.
It doesn't. See, here's the
Stop
thing.
ahead.
It doesn't matter to me. I don't know what this
Lighter?
whole thing about people getting banned for
Your
using
mother's
bot
waiting
views.
for you.
They tell you you need
Alright,
views to
yeah,
get,
just
you know,
anyone
whatever. And why does it matter how you get them? Doesn't
HUD
make
is
it. Doesn't
around
make
here.
any sense. So
We
anyway,
don't want to.
there's just some. This is just some really stupid things with this stuff.
Giant horns. Quiet now. Do what I do.
Oh,
Alright, so let me.
no,
Oh, I can't even
I
equip
skipped
another
it.
bow. That's right. Shoot.
It's okay.
I keep forgetting I
More
don't
time
have
for us
my
to
bow.
spend together. Enjoy the journey. Stay with me. We can
gonna
do
get
it
'em?
together.
I hate this. This is annoying. Come here,
See?
ass.
Hit.
I did get
Did
him.
you
Okay.
hurt him?
A clean shot to the heart. Hardly hurts at all.
I mean, it's their channel. It's their site.
Let
They
us
can
get
do
the
whatever
point.
that they want. So,
We'll
but
take this to the
unfortunately,
oracle
it just.
before it gets dark.
This
One
is
day,
this is like
I
when,
want to
you know,
shoot
a
an arrow through the
supermarket
sun.
or a store sells something
You can.
successful,
Your arrow will have
and
to
then
become Zenu.
they remove it
Imagine.
because
all my arrows are
it's
silenced.
like.
Then I'll be able to hunt
It's funny how
anything.
they want to be, you know, they want to sell
You
something
said you'd like to
successful,
see the Pharaoh
but
up
then when
close.
they do,
Yeah.
they endanger every
you
other
stand with
product
me
in the
by his
store
side?
because the product
Can I
that they're
do
selling
that?
becomes so
my
good
son
that
and
that's
future
pretty much
Magi.
that all people
Yes.
are buying. So they have to remove it to
What
get
is a
to
Magi really?
prevent people from buying it. So
first
they
Magi
actually
was
so
the
it kind of
protector of
forces
the
everybody to
Pharaoh.
buy other stuff.
But now,
So it's kind of
you must
randomized.
protect all the
But here's the thing: why don't you just stop selling
Not
other
just
stuff and only
protect
sell the one that you're selling?
work for their well-being.
It doesn't make any
Papa,
sense.
I'm so excited to be Magi one day. You know all the secrets of Siwa. What if I never go up to be a Magi?
Of course you will. You are my son.
In a minute after this,
But I get scared.
oh, after this,
try
I
to
have to
be
check.
brave.
I'm gonna
But
check the
sometimes it's
achievements
hard.
listing again. You guys
Hold
aren't
on.
gonna be able to see the achievements because I'm
Let's go this
actually
way.
on the EXE
When
instead
I
of
was
windowed
about your
mode.
age,
To do Animus
Sometimes
control
I got
panel, I had to
scared
use
too.
windowed mode because
your
the game
grandfather was
the
a
game
well-known
capture
Magi.
doesn't for some reason
He
pick up an
wanted me to bring
overlay, so
honor
you
to the
wouldn't
family
you can't
when I
even see it.
succeeded him.
Yeah?
One day,
So when I
took
use
me
the
out
Animus
this way.
control panel, I use
At the
windowed
top.
mode because you can see it.
You
It
said
still does the
something to
game
me.
quality, but it's not as high.
a single word. It changed me.
One word?
Oh, by the way, I used the Animus control panel in this to see if I could survive the fight. I almost killed everybody because I was curious
What
about what
word
would
did your
happen if you
father
just killed
say?
everybody in
Jump.
this cinema cut. So I don't know, man. This is funny.
Come,
Who are you to give commands to me?
you piece of shit. We don't have time to piss away.
You just let them kill you in this. There's no point in fighting. I mean, these guys still have like a skull above their head, but you're doing like the Animus control panel allows you to do like 10 times more damage, and your movement speed is ridiculous. So it's if you guys haven't seen the Animus control panel, after I'm done with this, I'll show you some stuff with it. It's absolutely ludicrous. Again, you're not going to be able to see it, but it's only for the PC users for some reason. And I don't. While I feel kind of cool that, you know, hey, look, they released it for the PC and I have that. I still don't think it's right to be withholding certain things from certain versions of a game just because it's not, you know, on certain things. Just like I don't feel it's right for game developers to be releasing a game only on consoles to boost the sale of consoles while ignoring the PC market. It's really ridiculous. So what I got a kick out of is I plastered something on the Capcom site when they were talking about Resident Evil 6. And Resident Evil 6, we all know, is pretty much ass anyway. But putting that aside, the focus of what I'm talking about is that Capcom, when they were going to release it, they had been advertising it. Even in E3, I think you can still find the advertisements where before Resident Evil 6 came out, they were advertising that it was going to be put on, you know, the consoles as well as the PC at the same exact time. And then when it finally came out, it was only released for the consoles, and the PC version was pushed back 8 months. So I went on the forum and I says, listen, you people are morons. You were advertising that you were going to release this cross-platform. Now you withhold the PC version and are going to release it 8 months later. I said, you guys do realize that in 8 months nobody's going to care about this game and almost nobody's going to buy it. Sure enough, 8 months later, they released it in January, or in February, whatever it was. And then, to make matters worse, well, no, that was a different Resident Evil game, but what happened was they complained their sales were bad. It's just really funny to me. Of course, and then I was basically like, of course their sales are bad, you idiots. You released it 8 months after the game, nobody cares about it. You're also trying to release it at the time that other games were being released. It was just stupid. Like, what goes through these developers' heads where they don't get this crap? So, it's just funny. Dude, he's getting it right in the grill.
It's a nobody!
He beat him in the face. I thought that was a skull at first, but then I realized it was like an orb or whatever the hell it is.
The hidden one greets you. The Lord of the Duat awaits.
So I think all I need to do now is talk to what's-his-face about leaving. And then I can actually get back in. Did I get an ability point? Yeah, I did, but I'm gonna wait. Yep, gotta talk to him while leaving. He's down below. Yeah, I'm gonna go down and see him. Alright, so let's see here. Alright.
Are you ready?
So now this is going to boot me out, and then when I get back into the Animus, I think I should be able to go.
There are others to whom I must deliver justice.
I think I can boost... What I got to do is I got to boost my character, so unfortunately I have to do all this first. Here's the interesting thing. I've already done this when I was using the Animus control panel, but that just, like, doesn't work in this. So I deleted the character, then I got bored, and I'm like, yeah, I might as well just finish my achievements. Her name is Layla. They should be playing the Eric Clapton song. Layla,
got the cyclosporin.
You got me on my knees. I got the cyclosporin.
I wish
I got the cyclosporin.
You do a good job looking after me. Dean never puts in enough snacks.
This should allow me to boost my character now. Hey, look at this.
This is so badass.
Be careful.
I do admit that would be badass, though, if you could actually go inside somebody's memories. By the way, the Assassin's Creed movie was terrible. Some guy went on death row and they revived him and then took him into the Animus Project instead of having the storyline of, you know, Miles Devon, or whatever the hell his name is. That's lovely. Okay, so now I should be able to boost my character.
I must protect this great land. Alexandria is where the snake thrives, and Aya lives. I must find them both.
I'm gonna wait through all these. I'm gonna wait till all these screens go through. I don't feel like just listening to them. Yeah, whatever. I've already read all this crap anyway. Oh, by the way, I activated the Animus control panel and went into the Hippodrome. Dude, it was hilarious. I got ran around the corner for the first time and I got knocked out of the race and my freaking character got up and says you're going the wrong way. My whole freaking cart was destroyed. Alright, so let me go to the main menu here and go to the title screen. Before I get to the Animus control panel, I need to do a few things. So I'm going to boost my character. So, this, and I can hold the boost. The reason why I'm using this character and not my other one is I don't want to disturb the ability points and stuff in those because those are already set in stone. So now I can actually get crafting levels 45. So now I should be able to get my ability points set up to do this. So just give me a second. I gotta check the achievements. You guys can't see this because it's not in the overlay. So I need to do Kill an enemy with a headshot while they're being harassed by Sanu. That's in the hidden ones. Most of this is in the hidden ones. Tame a lion. Complete, yeah, I don't care about the completing tours. 320 rebels, that's easy. Headshot an enemy with a bow while in the air. So I need the air attack. I need to bring a tamed lion to a crocodile, so that would fall under the category of taming your lion. The arrow whisperer. Kill an enemy with the predator bow from more than 60 meters away while controlling the arrow. 30 enemies. Yeah, okay, so most of the stuff is just friggin' stuff in here. Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so let me go to the abilities. By the way, I'm playing on a PC using a wired 360 controller. So let's see here. Do I attack with a bow in the air? Hail of arrows. Elite Ranger. Okay, so that's there. Air attack. Need to do poison darts. I don't need those. Hack and push. Tame an. Alright, so I got tame an animal, right? Alright, so that works. For those of you watching, stay away from Adrenaline 1 if you're going to go get Adrenaline 2. The reason why you want to get Adrenaline 2 is because Adrenaline 2 negates Adrenaline 1 and it's a wasted point. Because Adrenaline 1 starts you off with half an ability, half an Adrenaline bar. Adrenaline 2 starts you off with a full one, so it literally makes Adrenaline 1 useless. So just go around the opposite way to get those. So I gotta make sure I can harass enemies with Sanu. Break shield defense, toxin arrows. Oh yeah, I got a guide an arrow, right? Ants predator, control an arrow in the air. Alright, so yeah, 31 ability points now. So I don't need to do any of that, I just don't care about that. I don't need to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Gonna keep going with this for a few. Grab this crap. So I want to make sure when I grill the guy in the face, it hits him and kills him. So let's do that over your tree. I gotta harass the guy with Sanu and kill him with an arrow when I'm doing it. So it seems like I need to get all bow stuff here. So let me try this. Hail of arrows, piercing arrows, enhanced hunter bow. Break shields, yeah, I don't care about that shit. So I'm just gonna put the rest of the points in there so I know I can get them. Because again, I'm only doing the achievements for this. So then after this, I gotta go to the hidden ones. That's a lot of friggin' points. All right, so let's see here. So now I go to map, go to the atlas. And go here. So I guess apparently I have to do it inside this DLC.
Bayek, I cannot convey the sorrow with which I write.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream, man. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, and but for those of you joining in, the quality of my stream is going to jump up significantly on hopefully May 1st because I'm getting a really massive upgrade. Well, what would be considered a massive upgrade according to what I am now for my internet. So I'm going from 5 megabyte upload speed to 35. So it's gonna improve the quality of the stuff significantly. Well, according to what it is now. Alright, so now I just have to go in.
It should be visible from a height.
And then do Eagle Harass. So I need to find the I think that is there. Okay, so let's try this. I'm gonna change that now. just because I can. Thought they had that equipped, and then it just equipped the hidden ones? That's weird. So let's see here. What am I doing? Shit, really? What am I doing now? Oh, I gotta find a viewpoint on that. I don't want to do that shit. What am I looking at? I want to go into this friggin' area. What the hell's going on here? Awesomeness. I gotta find this friggin' fort. I think that's where I'm gonna get a lot of my stuff. I really wish you could have done this with the Animus control panel. I really do. Ooh, that's not good. I love that. Running right up the side of a mountain. It's running in place. Alright, so let's see here. This is the quarry. It's going over here. So let's try this. Wait a minute. Where's the friggin' damn shit in here? Is there a fort over here? Fuck. I cannot find anything in here. This is ridiculous. Wait, is that one? I'm going over there. Yes, I just licked. There you go. Ah, this is gonna suck. Imagine you could climb like that. That'd be like cool. Alright, so let's do this. I gotta find a where I forget where the hell shit is in this. Not a kite? What the hell is that flying in the background? Like a scarf or something? Thing's random. Yeah, right, here we go.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah, that is. He said that like he just looked at his junk. Oh, there it is. He just discovered his junk. That is. Let me see something real quick. By the way, in case you guys are wondering who this guy is behind me, it's the guy who obviously I wrote it in there. It's the guy's voice. It's the guy who does the voice of Bayek. I can't even pronounce his name, which is fitting considering you can't really pronounce half the. I can't pronounce half the stuff inside this game anyway, so it fits it. It pretty much fits the consistency of that. So I don't know where the hell this fort is. Oh, this is annoying. I could have sworn there was a fort around here somewhere. Okay, so there is one. Alright. So now I'm going to actually try to plug this guy in the face. I'm going to plug him right in the grill. Alright, so let's see where the actual fort itself is. Ah, here it is. So now I can start hopefully doing this.
I should not be seen in this area.
Oh yes, I should be seen in this area. I should be seen extremely well in this area. So let's see here. Tag. What the hell is this? Ah, there's a freaking thing over there. Whatever. I just don't even care. I don't care. What the hell? Ah, okay. So, if I... Wow, the guy's like right down there. Let's try this. So, let's see. You need to do it while harassing him or something, right? I don't think you can harass this guy inside the thing, can you? Nope. Okay. Waste. Alright, so now I have to figure out how to get... Oh, there he is. Ah, okay, there we go. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That is ridiculous.
State, conquiesco. Liste, confude. Tibi ave, ibi manere. Ramas, culus. Eki, hoc modo. Et tua est.
Frick is hitting me with something. That's got to be a ballista. So much for this fail. This fails. This is ridiculous.
Sanguinum ad sepulcrum. Ego stenda dividolor.
Sorry guys, give me a minute. This is ridiculous. Wow, that was ridiculous. So now I have to get this crap finished. Gotta fix this shit. This is ridiculous. Somebody was hitting me with a damn ballista. It was knocking me over. Oh yeah, and by the way, in case you're wondering, game's on Nightmare. Darn it, what the heck. Alright, so now if I actually get up here, I should be able to plug one of these guys with this. So I don't know how... Wait a minute, hold on a second. Over 60 meters away. So I have to actually get out. I have to kill this guy with something over 60 meters away. Wait a minute, what? How did I go from 57 meters? Oh, that's why, because it's Sanu. It's not me. Crap. Wow. They actually lit the brazier. Holy gosh. I didn't realize they would do it with that many guys. Can I get this guy from over here or what? I'd have to do a hunter or predator bow. Alright, so I'm going to see if I can kill this guy. So if I swap to my predator bow, right? It doesn't even say I have to do this. Ah, there we go, the Arrow Whisperer, got it. now, that's one out of the way. Now I have to harass this guy with Sanu. Sorry. Of course they have to see me. He fell down. Actually, have I, Chris? Yeah, actually I have. But the difference between this game and the other one is, this game's explained. This game has a hell of a lot more explanation than the other crap involved. Actually, I'm the only person so far that has streamed this game completely on both regular and New Game Plus and finished it, including all DLCs, getting 100% on both ranges. So, as far as all you people attacking me in the chat verbally the other night about how I'm dumb and don't know how to play games and anything else, none of you have been able to pull this off, so there's a bunch of games I've actually pulled this off with. Nope. No, he's asking me. Chris is one of the fans I have in the chats because what I did was I ripped apart Tom Clancy's The Division, and a bunch of people who love the game hated me for doing that. So instead of actually looking at what I was talking about, a lot of them were totally ignoring the problem that the game actually has. And they decided to team play, got that one done. Yeah, he's asking me because what happens is when people see me stream, I literally, for the people that aren't familiar with this, I literally go into games and I rip apart how badly they're put together, and the people who are so in love with the game and have played it either don't like it, will troll, or they actually believe the game is explained because they've played it so much that they can't unwrap their head around to see what I'm saying. It's because they're taking information that they already have, which they wouldn't have had at the time I'm talking about it, and then trying to apply it so it doesn't work. So they're like, well, why didn't you do this? I'm like, you wouldn't have known to do what you're saying there because that information doesn't exist where you're saying it does. The only reason you're saying it does is because the information you already know about. That would be like me playing this game and telling other people, why don't you know how to do this? Despite me knowing the game doesn't even tell you the stuff that I'm talking about. Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, there's no big deal. I mean, I don't, you know, attack people personally. What I do is I take apart games that have bad flaws in them, and I show just how badly they're programmed. So that turns into a, you know, usually a shitstorm about what, you know, why you can't play, or it just turns into a mess. Instead of people just leaving alone and accepting the fact that the game is put together badly. Give me a second. I gotta see something about the achievements. Hold on one second. Tame a lion. So I gotta headshot an enemy while I'm in the air with a bow. Then I gotta bring a lion to a crocodile. So those are the only two real things that I have to do right now left with the abilities that I have to do. So, let me see. So if I want to tame a lion, I have to go find them. That means I gotta go back to the main game. So, if I kill an enemy in the air with a bow, how the hell do I do that? Oh, okay, aim in the air with a slow motion. Well, here's the thing, alright? There's a difference between opinion and fact, and this was a debate in the chat that I had the other night. It's almost like I have to pull up a dictionary, put the definitions. It's almost like I have to pull up multiple dictionaries, like the Oxford and the Yale dictionary, stuff that define really, because the English dictionaries in the United States are not really that, they make, you know, they add stuff in there. But if you want to use an actual like definition of a word, open up the Oxford dictionary or the Yale dictionary, which basically takes precedence almost over every other dictionary in the world. So you use the ones that actually use the English language. And so it's almost like I have to pull up and rip apart the definitions to show people that what they're talking about doesn't actually apply. And so when I get told, you know, well, a game, that's not a tutorial does this, and they start putting stuff in, so they rip out what the definitions of these words are, instead of actually applying what the actual definition is, because if somebody uses the word tutorial, they're actually using very specific things that are required to be applied to the definition. And if you don't, you're not using the word tutorial correctly, so trying to say a game as a tutorial, where it's missing steps, means the game doesn't have a tutorial, so anybody trying to say it does is misusing the word tutorial. Now, people will say, well, that's nitpicking and everything else. It's not nitpicking. It's telling you you're using the word of the definition of the word incorrectly. You know, so that's not an opinion, that's a fact. If you look up the word, if you look up the definition of a word and then you don't apply the entire definition to how it applies to and all the connecting words off of it, it's not an opinion, it's a fact. You're misusing the word. And so it's interesting. It's like the word there, and there. People misuse those consistently. I will watch people use the words T-H-E-I-R or I-E-R, you know, T-H-E-I-R, to try to mean as a placement. They don't realize that that literally means a personalized thing. Or your, Y-O-U-R. That denotes ownership. Y-O-U''R-E is you-are, which isn't. So people say, oh, you know, they spell your as in Y-O-U-R, an idiot. Ownership idiot? You're misusing the word. Well, you know what I meant. No, you misused the word. There's no such thing as ownership idiot. And so that's the stuff that people nitpick about, because they're like, well, you know what I meant. It's not, it doesn't change the fact that you misused the word. Doesn't matter what I know what you mean, you misused it, period. So that's the issues that people talk about, because they're trying to manipulate. Oh, well, you know, they're trying to use, well, you're just manipulating, or you're using semantics. No, you're using the word incorrectly. If you're using the word incorrectly, it's a fact. It's not an opinion. So, and people are like, well, you know, you're getting that technical. No, that is nothing, and that's what I don't understand. It's like, how is that semantics? You're misusing a word. That's not semantics. That's telling you you're misusing the word because you are. Well, you know what I meant. It just goes in a circle. So, it's funny to listen to people do that. So, it's like, what wound up happening yesterday, well, what happened in the stream the other night is I started talking about keybinds. And it just amazes me, because no matter what I did, people were ignoring that. They were just trying to cherry pick like what keybinds were. So what happened was, one of the things I'm using is, what I was using was the fact, like, in the division. Now, you can construe this going too far, but that doesn't mean anything, because people are gonna say it's going too far simply because of the comparison I made. So it's it's interesting.
It is our own Bayek.
So basically what happened was, one of the main things that I just thought it was just really funny, because people just couldn't it was almost like people couldn't handle this. It was bad enough that I was ripping apart the game, but this one sent it over the top. So what happened was, there was something about X mods a weapon. Now, you got to remember, we're talking about a keybind. We're not talking about whether somebody can follow instructions. We're talking about what the buttons actually do themselves. So if, you know, you're told so far, you know, L2 aims, R2 shoots, pressing left on the D-pad does specific thing. You're talking about keybind functions. So throughout the game, you know, you're told R2. If you're told R2 aims and then you press R2, it's going to aim, which proves it's the keybind for aiming. Why would R2 tell you you're going to aim and then do something it doesn't do? That doesn't make any sense. So when you're going through the whole entire process of the Division, you have instructions disappearing off of the screen without having without having being told certain things. Then you have other instructions that are doing the exact same thing as the other one in the same context where it doesn't give you anything specific, but yet when you do it, it disappears off the screen. So it's an inconsistency on what the thing is telling you to do. Then you have people saying the instructions tell you to do stuff it never actually tells you to do. They just implied it does, when in reality it doesn't tell you, do this now. So even after pointing that out, people wind up saying, oh, you know, well, no. It tells you that. So what wound up happening was, throughout the entire thing on the key binding, I wound up going to, I gotta go over here. There's a freaking lion, I think, over here somewhere. Oh, wait a minute. Can I go over here yet? Oh, I can. All right, never mind. I gotta go here somewhere. I gotta find out how the hell to go over here. How the hell do I get over here? Oh, you know what? It doesn't even matter. I gotta cut through the desert here. So, all right. So anyway, the keybind. Okay. So what wound up happening was, sorry, I have extreme guard hate in this game. So what wound up happening was it got to the point where, you know, I was literally making comparisons to the game people literally couldn't handle, and I don't mean they couldn't handle it. What it was they were applying what they felt like it, and then trying to use that to avoid what I was talking about. So what happened is, again, we're talking about the keybinds themselves. So if you're told L2 shoot, you know, L2 aims. Hold on a second, let me get rid of these guys. I gotta get rid of these guys. So if you're told L2 aims, and you press L2 and it aims, you're not going to argue that that's the keybind for aiming. Now, if you're going to say R2 shoots, and then you press R2 and it shoots, you can't argue that that's the keybind for shooting. It's telling you R2 shoots. It's a base fact principle. Now, when you tell somebody after all going through all that, like, you know, press the right bumper to use a special ability, and you press right bumper, and the special ability gets used, that's the keybind for it. The problem ran into that people basically, this is the one where I pulled out and really showed how bad the game was. You picked up a weapon mod, and this is what it said on the screen: X mods a weapon. In the same fashion, R2 shoots or L2 aims. Left, right bumper on the. I'm using his 360 controller, so I'm using the Xbox configurations. But right bumper, you know, uses a skill. They're all keybinds. They all do that. So what happened was, it says X mods a weapon. That's no different than any other keybind in the entire game. Except the problem is when you pressed X, the weapon didn't get modded. Instead, what it did was it brought up a mod menu that was ludicrous, because that's an idiotic thing to say. You have a bunch of keybinds that do specific things, and then you're saying this one keybind is different than the rest of them. And then what happened was I pointed out that you're going to say X mods a weapon, then you have to, when you press X, any mod that's gone there needs to be applied to the weapon when you press it. If you're going to say, if you're going to open up, instead, if you're going to open up a menu where X says, X is, you know, it says X mod a weapon, and then when you press X it opens up a menu, then that's an incorrect piece of instruction, because X is a keybind for modding a weapon. It does not say X opens up a mod menu. That would be completely different. Press X to open the mod menu. That would be a totally different story. And despite those comparisons I made, and despite me rephrasing the sentence to its proper statement, people still said I'm an idiot because I don't know how to mod a weapon. When in fact, I wasn't stating I didn't know how to mod a weapon. I was proving that the game gives you incorrect instructions that are inconsistent with the remainder of the game. And because people were so hell-bent on applying that I don't know how to do something, I don't know how to do something. They were actually ignoring the whole point to what I was doing. And that's where the arguments and stuff keep coming in, because I'll point blank say it would be like this stream of the title of this stream is exactly what it says it is. I am literally doing exactly what the title of the stream says it is. But this would be like somebody trying to take getting achievements done and then saying, well, that means quests. You're supposed to be doing quests. That's what it means. No, it means I'm getting achievements done. It's like there's no misunderstanding, but that's what people do. So somebody's like, well, don't you know how to do side quests? And then start talking about all this irrelevant stuff because of the title of the stream. It just comes across as people are just dumb. So it's funny how people were pissing and moaning, well, you didn't follow instructions. I'm like, I did follow instructions. X is supposed to mod the weapon. No, it's not. It doesn't say that. Then I pointed out that L2 is not supposed to aim then. R2 is not supposed to shoot. Right bumper is not supposed to use an item. I mean, you can't cherry pick where this stuff applies. It's a keybind. And so, well, you know, that's different. I'm like, how is it freaking different? It's a keybind. So the division is not as well put together as people think it is. And the only reason, I am the only YouTube persona that can actually do what I'm doing. There is no other channel in existence that picks apart games the way I do and show that there's problems with it. It's almost like in a time where it's hard to find a unique way, it's almost next to impossible to do something unique on YouTube. I have found something very unique to do on YouTube. I'm the only person that's done this. And nobody, even if somebody were to do it, you can't do it the same way I'm doing it. Because it's because of the intricacies that I use when I do these videos. I literally make it so you can't argue with me. And people are like, oh, you just can't handle confrontation. Right, that's my point. Now, I'm not trying that to be... here's the thing. I didn't set out to do this. It just so happened that I made enough videos, and it didn't even occur to me, because I never said I was going to originally make my YouTube channel to do this. It just so happened that my YouTube channel fell into place like this. This was a sheer accident. To me, I didn't think I was even doing anything unique. I'm just pointing out, you know, because people do reviews on games all the time. I'm not just doing a review on the game. I'm showing how badly programmed it is, no matter what it is. It's like if you take a look, I look at things in a very weird way, but the thing here is if you actually take the time to listen to what I'm saying, I come up with comparisons that you can't argue with to disprove what's going on in these games. So, for example, last night I just made a video stating, and this is something that people argue with me constantly about, so I basically came up with a comparison using a pen. And so, how would you make a pen compared to what I'm about to talk about? Well, it's simple. Because the context is the same. It may be done with a different object, but the context is identical. So, what happens is that I came up with this video that there's no such thing as a PvE server in any MMO game. It doesn't exist. Now, the problem is people will say, yeah, it does, because you can do player versus environment. But if you actually listen to what I'm saying, you will find that what I said is absolutely 100% correct. There is no such, even though it's second nature to people that do MMOs. And that's why someone like me can get away with doing something. I'm dead. That's why somebody like me, I don't want to say get away with it, but that's why somebody like me, it takes someone like me to actually show and prove this. Because I'm the only person you will ever hear say that the PvE servers don't exist in any MMO. And I can prove they don't. And I can prove it simply by using a pen. That's the weirdness that I come up with. And basically how you prove it, there's no such thing as a PvE server in any MMO game. I'll start with the pen explanation. Let's say you have a pen that you're selling as pure red. A pure red shade of a pen. If you add even the smallest drop of another color to the ink in that pen, is it still pure red? Nope, it's not. You cannot advertise it as pure red. Even though it may write red, it is no longer pure red. The reason why that's relevant to the PvE is because no PvE server in existence doesn't have PvP in it. PvP is the equivalency of adding a drop of different colored ink to a pure red pen and then saying it's pure red. As long as you have PvP elements of any kind, even the word PvP, you have permeated and ruined a PvE server by infecting it with something that doesn't belong and then trying to advertise it as that server doesn't have that. If you're going to have PvE, that means player versus environment. If you have a player versus environment, no PvP of any kind belongs on it in any way, shape, or form. Because if you're going to have PvE and then PvP servers, why are they... If you have PvE, you can find PvP in every single server in every single MMO game, no matter what it's titled. How can it be PvE if you allow PvP into it? Oh, you can still do it player versus environment. Well, I can say the same exact thing and say that, well, if you're going to use that route, I can actually turn the argument around and say, well, a PvP server really isn't PvP because I can still do PvE in there. And that's what's funny, because people apply the argument only one-sided. They don't apply it the other way. When in reality, if you actually take a look at it, PvP servers are all PvE servers in that regard. But the fact remains is you can't advertise. PvE in the pure and truest sense means there's nothing else except you, the player, and the environment. Period. The fact that you can toggle the option to PvP off means PvP hasn't been infected with it. I don't want to say infected, but I think you understand the terminology I'm using here. It's been infiltrated into the server, making PvE now no longer actually exist. You can't advertise it as PvE if you're allowing PvP into it. The server now becomes PvE PvP. It's no longer a straight up PvE server. Today it came at 8:30 or 8:25. The other night it's different because it was a different bus driver hunt. No, that was me waking up. That was me waking up. But I just, in case I fell back asleep, I leave that on. I get her up, I get her dressed, and then if I fall back asleep, No, she's always up. No, she's always out in time. I've been doing that since I've been getting her up. Sorry, I'm talking to my wife. Talking about our daughter. So, does that make sense about what I was getting at? So, I'm the only person that would be able to pull that information out and basically use a structured argument to back that up. That's the issue. So let me see here. I gotta find... There are lions or leopards or something over here I gotta find. Now, the thing here is, people that all play WoW and everything else and all MMOs, I guarantee if you tell somebody that there's no such thing as a PvE server in any MMO, they'll tell you you're wrong. Every single one of them will tell you you're wrong. But here's the thing. Saying you're wrong doesn't make you wrong. What would make you wrong is disproving that. I gotta find these guys. I don't know where this is. I know these guys are over here somewhere. So... the thing here is, people can say it's wrong all they want, but the fact remains what I just explained is a pure fact. That, again, this is like the pure red pen. Just because it writes red, it's not pure red if you even put the smallest drop of other color into it. Whoa. I gotta find out where this is. Wow, it's 500 drachma. Well, here's the thing. Everything I'm talking about won't change anything. It won't change a thing. They're not gonna, developers are not gonna implement a tutorial because I said something's wrong with their game, because they don't care. Players don't care. According to everybody else, the excuse for not putting a tutorial inside the game is, well, enough players went ahead and knew what to do, so we didn't need to do that. which is the all-time excuse of why game developers get this lazy when it comes to this. So, as far as games getting worse, I don't think games can get any worse. Now, here's something interesting you might find. Somebody said something in my chat the other night. Oh, I don't want to say my chat. Somebody said something in the chat the other night, and what it was, they said something along the lines of graphics or something like that. I turned around and I said to the person, what you're talking about is aesthetics, not graphics. And a question to ask people when you come up with this, and this brings into the point on games being good or bad, because a game being good or bad is relatively an opinion. It would be like asking somebody, is a movie good? You can't really dictate what is or isn't bad because we all have different tastes. However, the one main thing about that I talk about is, does the game actually explain how to use it? Whether or not enough people can look at something and guess what to do, that has nothing to do with what I am talking about. Now, if people want to say, well, obviously enough people had enough information, that's actually a false statement, because if you don't have any information to work with, you can't turn around and try to tell me that, well, enough people had enough information. You don't even have any information to even have a small amount. So saying you have enough information, that it doesn't work. That doesn't even make any sense. That would be looking at a blank. That would be looking at a blank paper and saying, well, I have enough information to know that that's 2 plus 2. What? That doesn't even make. That's literally the same thing. What's the difference with what? Sorry, I missed what you were saying. What's the difference with what? I gotta find these leopards. I don't know where they are. Are they over here? I don't even know if these leopards or what I'm looking for is even over here. So when you say what's the difference, I'm sorry, you're probably replying. I'll wait till you reply. Alright, that's really tricky. Let me turn you on to a video which will explain it to you. Because here's the thing. Contrary to what people think, and a lot of my information came from the video I'll link you to. Just give me 1 second to link it. Just give me 1 second, I'm looking for this video. Oh, that's what it is. Alright, I mistitled it. Hold on. Sorry, it took me a minute to find it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a watch, but that guy really breaks down and explains what people are talking about when they talk about graphics. What happens is a lot of these comments, and he doesn't say this, but when you start watching this stuff, you have to keep in the back of your mind, when people complain about graphics, that those comments are coming from people who copy other people who don't know what they're talking about. So what happens is, case in point, I had somebody ask me one time, are you going to tell a million people that they're wrong? And I says, well, let me ask you this, because I will always make something, I will always throw something out there to get people to ask, to view why they even asked me that question in the first place. I'll answer it, but I'll answer it in a way that it gives them something to look at, where what they're it shows what they're asking is not as valid as they're using it. There is the context they're using it in. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because that was confusing. All right, I had a couple people. I've actually had this asked to me multiple times. Are you going to tell a million people? Because I was explaining why gaming mods for Elder Scrolls game just are what's causing problems in games, and it's not coming from the developer. I attacked the modding community for this one, and I got, obviously it's like a bunch of people are all against me because they're all using the Nexus and everything else. And instead of everybody sitting back and looking at, after you introduce mods to your game, then your game broke, that you're actually saying the mods aren't the problem, it's the gaming problem, because your mod, you think everybody's mod should work fine with your game. No, that doesn't work like that. You put the mods in your game, and then the game broke, and then you started using console commands, so when you revoke the mod, it screwed your game up. Your game was already screwed up in the first place. So anyway, the point is that using a situation like that, I had a bunch of people, I've had multiple people ask me, are you going to tell a bunch of people that, are you going to tell a million people that they're wrong? Well, they're all saying the same thing. I said, listen, a mass consensus doesn't make a fact. And I says, if I'm going to tell a million people are wrong, if a million people are getting this information from this one place, or, a couple places that are held in such high regard that you can't say anything to them at all without the entire community attacking you, and that place that these people are getting information from has wrong information on it, and a million people are going there, yes, I'm going to say a million people are wrong, because a mass consensus doesn't make a fact. What makes a fact is the actual correctness, or correct whatever it is on there, and the facts being used. So what happens here is a bunch of people going to a place that is giving off false information, or I don't want to say false information, but information that isn't complete, or missing information, or is misinforming people by trying to blame the game developer for mods blaming game developer because people are breaking their games. But yet every single topic you go to on a forum, the first thing that anybody posts, I'm having a problem with this game, here are the mods I'm using, and then try to blame the gaming company. I'm like, you just listed a bunch of mods you're saying, and then you're saying, why is your game broken? Oh no, that's the developer. It's ridiculous. And the thing with the reason I bring up the Elder Scrolls is because every single Elder Scrolls game that comes out where the modding community piles out mods has the same exact problem. It's an ongoing thing. They will load out mods every single Elder Scrolls game from Morrowind all the way up to Skyrim. Not talking about the other ones, because those are just like, those aren't the same. They don't have the same type of modding community. But every single one of them, if you look back at the history of the Elder Scrolls games, Elder Scrolls Morrowind, mods are used. Game broke, people blame the game developer. Oblivion, mods came out. People used mods, their game broke, they blame the developer. Skyrim, people use mods, their game broke, they blame the developer. It's an ongoing problem. And yet, despite all of that, the mods are never breaking the game. Not ever. So it's interesting to see, because what I just explained is a fact. People use mods and it breaks their game, and they've been doing it through the history. It's a repeated history. They do it with every Bethesda game. Now they're like, oh, Bethesda and then they try to use the cover of Bethesda's games being broken to blame the game developer for breaking the game. Now, I'm not saying that the games aren't buggy. We're not saying that at all. However, when you start using console commands in any Elder Scrolls game, and you start using mods that people program incorrectly, You have problems with your game. It is a base fact. It is a proven thing throughout the entire history of every single Elder Scrolls game and every single game Bethesda puts out. Fallout series, take a look at that. You will see the same exact pattern of complaints on the forum, and the same exact reason the complaints are coming out. So, to actually say mods are not causing the problem with the game, no matter, and yet the situation is the same exact one every single time with a different game, proves mods are breaking the game. Now, the other one I like is that people say, well, you know, I run these mods and didn't have a problem. There's no problem with them. Just because you don't run into a problem with the mod doesn't mean the problem doesn't exist. It just means you never saw it. Maybe it takes something specific to trigger the problem off. Maybe it doesn't. But to say that there is no problem with the mod because you haven't seen it is ignorant. That's the equivalency of saying, well, I don't need training wheels on a bike, so you don't either. That was a point that I made inside one of the Division stream I was doing the other day. So as you can see, I break everything down. I don't just say something. I literally back it up with repeat histories. I bring in things where they belong. I apply concepts where they belong. I'll apply concepts that gamers will say everywhere it belongs, and gamers will say, well, no, they try to cherry pick where they want it. It's ridiculous. Now, again, everything I'm doing won't change anything. Games will still continue doing this. I'll still making videos on how bad they are. People will still be attacking me, you know. And even here, here's a base principle. Here's a base concept that I actually pointed out while I was doing the Division. I hate the Mass Effect games. I can't stand them. Now, a lot of the people that play Mass Effect won't play the Division for various reasons. Is that a tiger? Is that... Hold on a second. There it is. That's a lion, right? Yeah, I gotta get this guy. Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta go here and get my, sleeping darts. Oh, what the hell? Wait a minute. Oh, crap. I gotta get out of here. Hold on a second. Found a tiger that I'm looking... Lion that I'm looking for. That's what I need. There we go. Okay. Sorry, give me a second. Oh, shit. Where is it? That him? Oh, where did it go? Oh, crap. I lost him. Oh, there he is. I see him. Wait a minute. Tamed a lion. Alright, so now I have to bring it to an alligator. Alright, so I'm gonna bring it here. Sorry, it took me forever to find the lion. I knew it was out here somewhere. I just didn't know where it was. I had to actually look where it was. That was a little trippy. But case in point, what I was talking about in the Division stream the other day. So like as I was getting at, the Mass Effect, I don't like the Mass Effect series. I can't stand it. Now, I'm not going to bash the game just because I don't like it. I would still be making the same type of video as I did with the Division. Not because I don't like it, but there's something wrong with the game. And so when I did that, if I did that, what would happen is people that don't like the Mass Effect series would agree with me no matter what it is that I said. You know, or they would say, you know, I could say this game, you know, you can't shit in a tub, so the game's bad. People would agree with me that didn't like it just because they don't like it. Now, on the flip side of that, if I go into the Mass Effect community and start pointing out the flaws in the game, I'll get attacked by the same people. And so it's interesting to watch the one-sided arguments, or the arguments that people try to use one-sided, that get I don't want to say they get mad at me, but after I point out, I use an exact opposite side of the argument to counter what they're saying, and then say, you can't prove me wrong any more than I can prove you wrong. Just like I can't prove what you're saying is not a fact any more than you can't prove that I'm saying a fact. I just took what they did and applied it to a side of it that they didn't put it to. Yeah, so, for example, one of the comments that I've had every type of comment ever said to me, so there isn't anything that I don't have. People are like, you have an answer for everything. Yes, because I have had every type of comment ever said to me about these. So, one of the things I use to people when they say, well, it's obvious what to do, or the game developer assumes that you know how to do this. I said, well, the game developer now also needs to assume I don't know how to do this. I said, it's just the way it is, you know? So, it just amazes me how they want to apply it one way, but they can't apply it across the board. And I would be saying the exact opposite. Well, the game developer doesn't assume you know this. Well, I said, well, the game developer must assume you know this. So, and here's the thing. Like, one of the main games I use is Guild Wars, for example, or Guild Wars 2, I should say. Guild Wars 2 literally does not, it gives you 2 pieces of instruction, and then that's it. That's all it does. People will say, well, why didn't you look in the upper left corner? I said, the game doesn't tell you to, and neither did the developer. Well, you don't need that. Oh, so you don't need training wheels, so somebody else does it. That's the relevance to that comment. And then I say, well, well, you don't need the game. Does the game developer really need to tell you that? Does the game developer don't need to tell you that? Does the game developer need to tell you the 2 pieces of instructions it gives you first? But yet it doesn't need to give you that? And so basically what I do is I start picking apart things that the player doesn't, it's almost like the player doesn't acknowledge that. And so I did this, like I said, I did this in a Division. Oh gosh, did this thing just disappear? Wait, is he up here? Oh, there he is. Alright, he came up. I was like, wow. I was like, where did this thing just go? Okay, so. So, you know, I've had all sorts of comments said to me about, you know, well, it's too much on the game program. So then what I will do is I said, okay, if that's the case, since what is already written there doesn't have anything to do with the instruction, then you can remove that piece and put what I said. So don't give me this crap about it's you know, it has to do with the game programming. You're put more information in on what you're doing and remove the stuff that doesn't have anything to do with that. So, like, one of the things that I did in the Division the other night, it's just funny because when I make these videos, a lot more stuff comes out that I actually find for information to use as counter-arguments. And so, what happens is, they're saying, that, like, in the Division, it tells you when it tells you on screen that, you know, if you have an ability, it literally states what the specific button that opens the menu, and then they actually tell you what tab specifically to open. Then once you do that, it tells you a specific button you would use to equip an ability on that screen. And then when you open the screen, there's no instructions. And people say, well, you don't need them. I says, well, and that's silly or you're dumb. I said, so what you're saying is, it's silly. It's not silly to put the first 3 pieces of instruction in there that tell you explicitly detailed information about what exact button you need to press. It even shows the picture of it. What tab to open, and then what button functions on that tab. But yet somebody's an idiot because they want to know how that interface works. You're going to tell me that it's okay to put the first couple of pieces in there with explicitly detailed information and then not finish it? I said, how is that overthinking something? Or how is that dumb, or how is that silly, or how do you call somebody an idiot? You don't seem to have a problem with the first 3 instructions being simplified, and you don't say that the game doesn't need those, but you're saying the game doesn't need this because it's the one thing you're picking it out on? Well, it's obvious. It's not. I didn't ask you whether it was obvious. Well, you don't need it. Then you don't need the instructions for opening the damn menu in the first place. So it's a one-sided argument that people like to use. that I will counter with the same type of information. And another one is that somebody's like, haven't you played an MMO? Don't you know how your inventory works? But yet, when I used that information in another place in the game, they said, no. I says, you just said use common sense, and then you said, haven't you applied other concepts from other games here? So that's exactly what I'm doing, and now you're saying it doesn't apply here, but it applies where you want it to? No. So one of the things I was talking about is that if you're going to use the common sense principle in using other games that you've ever played, then you have to also apply military games. Put on the screen enemies show up on a radar or mini-map as red dots. So you're told by these people to use common sense, and they use the excuse of, haven't you played other games, as you should have known this by playing other games. But when you do apply those mechanics, they don't want to apply it where they want you to apply it. They want to only apply it where they feel like applying it. But in reality, if you're going to say it one way, you have to say it across the entire board, or your argument becomes null and void. Make up your mind. You're saying use common sense and other stuff from other games, or you don't. You can't apply it one place and not the other. You can't apply it to the inventory without applying it to the menus. You can't apply it to the menus without applying it to the radar, or the minimap, or whatever it is. It's the same argument, and that's what I'm saying. Gamers do things one-sided. And that's why gamers argue with me, because I'm applying the exact concept they say, I'm just doing it in a place that they don't want it applied to, despite it being the exact same thing. So I need to find the alligator pit in here somewhere. It's over here. I think it's over here. I think I went too far. And yet, I'm the one with the problem. I actually had one person in the stream, I think it was one or two people in the stream actually asked me, without putting all this aside, do you know how to do this? And I says, whether or not I know how to do this, what does that have to do with anything? Can I look it up? Sure. What does that have to do with what I'm talking about? So people are so hell-bent on using crutch statements and crutch things in games that they fail to look at product development and product release when it comes to developer games. And another thing I bring up too is that if you will notice that the people that attack me for putting this out there because it's a game developer will be the first ones in line complaining about any other product except for games, that whatever product that they bought didn't come with instructions, or something is mislabeled on it, or something else. Gamers apply this concept of game developers being exempt only for game developers and nowhere else in existence. So the people that tell me I have a problem are the first ones in line complaining about stuff that's not completed when they purchase something else other than a game. It's like the whole downgraded graphics issue. There's no such thing as a downgraded graphic, in a game. It doesn't exist. So what's funny is these are the same types of people that have these high-end computers who put up, overclocking your computer and everything else. But what they fail to realize is that what they're talking about with the game's graphics apply to the processor. Meaning, the processor is always... A processor for a computer is always sped up. They build it from the factory like that and then tone it down so everybody can use it. It doesn't make the processor can still go that fast. It can absolutely still go that fast, but you have to actually do something in order to get it to do that. But what happens here is they don't apply that whole system to graphics. The whole system for graphics is the same principle. Game developers will jack the graphics up and see how well it does, and then they will tone it down for everybody to be able to use.
May God help.
That's what I was looking for, was that. So what happens is they will argue profusely, well, it's still in the game, you know, like these graphics are still in the game coding. Well, the same argument applies. The speed for the processor is still there. But yet you're not pissing and moaning that the developer of the processor is advertising it incorrectly.
God help me. I am coming for you, Aya.
Do you see what I'm getting at? It's the same argument. They just don't apply what they're applying it to elsewhere. They only apply it to where they want to apply it, despite what they're using is the exact same thing. So these are the things that I actually pulled together with comparisons, and to even attempt to say what I'm talking about is wrong literally means you're canceling the argument on both ends of it, no matter which end you do. So the argument that people are coming up with is null and void, no matter which way you look at it. Because you can't apply a concept like that and then say, well, it doesn't apply to a product, despite the product is literally doing the exact same thing as the other one. It just because it's not a game doesn't change the fact that it's jacked up and then toned down. The processor's jacked up first and then toned down. That would be the equivalency of jacking the graphics up and then toning them down. You're jacking something up and then toning it down to do it. Regardless of what that's in, the concept is the same across the board for everything. Here's another example. You can heat a piece of metal up to X amount of degrees. You're not going to pick it up until it cools down. Now, you're going to argue that they didn't give it to you hot. You know what I mean? It's the same. You know what I mean? That's a little weird, but you get what I'm saying. It's no matter what you're doing, it's the same thing. Something is jacked up and then toned down. What it is, or what you're doing, or how you're toning it down isn't relevant. It's the concept that you're using. You can't argue one concept one way, but not apply it to the other ones, despite it, because everything uses everything on that regard uses the exact same thing. It uses the same process. So give me a second. I gotta kill an enemy in the air with a headshot. So I gotta kill an enemy with a headshot. Headshot, kill an enemy with a bow while in the air. Okay, so give me a minute. I know I'm wondering if I can actually headshot an enemy and kill this enemy that I have here if he's an enemy. So if I untame him. Now the reason why I said my YouTube channel is unique like that is because who does that? You know what I mean? I just take arguments and I just say I get sick and tired of hearing people freaking say them. And then just use stupid comparisons to try to justify themselves. But then actually argue that what you're talking about doesn't apply to them, despite it being the exact same thing. You know, you can pull out the concept, and because people don't like it, they will say that's not the same thing, or your analogy is really bad. An analogy is nothing more than a comparison. You're using something different on the same level. So if you're going to say the analogy is bad, there's no such thing as a bad analogy if the analogy being used is to show the equivalency of what you're doing is the same, just in a different way. The only thing wrong with an analogy is the person not liking what you did with it. Some analogies are confusing, but it doesn't change the fact that the analogy is exactly the same. It's, you know, whether I talk about peanut butter sandwiches using it or whether I talk about motor oil, it's the concept that you're using, not the items involved or who's involved or whatever. So one of the things that happened with the downgraded graphics, how that crap started, was this is like one of these places that are in high regard. So for example, actually I just found another video. I'm actually going to make a video about this because I'm calling this company out. And what's going to wind up happening is people are going to state, well, you don't know what you're talking about or anything else. But what happens here is the video I'm going to talk about is that I'm very careful about what I say. So one of the videos I'm going to talk about is there is a video out there. There's a few of them out there, and who put the video out is important. Despite what's in the video, it's who is making the video. is where these little problems, such as the graphics, down graphics in games start. It's people like the things it's the people that I'm talking about that put these videos out that cause these problems, because these people that I'm talking about, I'm not just talking, I don't want to say these people, but the groups that I'm talking about, the types of them that are putting out, and why I'm going to actually focus on this one group, are responsible for causing problems between a lot of stuff that are unnecessary and doesn't even exist. And because these places are held in such a high stature, if you try to no matter what you pull out and show that what they're doing is incorrect, the entire community that supports these people will defend their behavior. And I'm not going to say who it is yet, because I got to make a video on it on my channel, because I'm going to say this is the crap that needs to go. I'm not going to tell you who it is, because there's a bunch of people that are doing this, but there's one particular person or group of individuals that I am specifically targeting with this. And so while you will be able to find multiple people that are doing this, you're not going to find the exact one I do until I reveal it. So, well, even if you did, I wouldn't tell you if it was them or not. The point is that this group of people, what they're doing, this organization, a group of people, I don't really know what to call it. There's more than one person involved. It's a group. Now, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, I don't know. But I want to call it an organization, but it's almost like an online company. You know how like Overclock.net is like an organization? I don't want to say it's an organization, but it's a website. They have a YouTube channel and everything else that do things. This is one of these types of things where they are actually stating playing in 16K or playing in 8K, which is something that doesn't exist. They will say, this organization or group, these groups will literally state, because they're all high tech, that people think you can play stuff in 8K and 16K. Now, whether or not you actually can or not doesn't change the fact that what they're talking about gives off the impression you can, and when people look at what they're doing, they'll say, yeah, this is 16K. No, it's not. And so this is the stuff I want to talk about, because that is the root of where things start. And one of the comparisons I tell people that actually ends the debate, you can't even go, there's nothing you can say to this. The reason why you can't play something in 8K, 6K, or even 5K is because a resolution does not allow something that is not made in that resolution to be displayed in that resolution. You can display something, but you can't display something any higher than what the game itself or a video itself is made with. So, what I'm getting at is, unless a game is made in 5K if the game itself is not made in 5K resolution or 4K resolution, hooking it up to a 4K resolution monitor is not going to get the game to play or be displayed in 4K. It won't. This is the equivalency of trying to put a regular DVD into a Blu-ray player and then saying it's going to come out Blu-ray. Unless the DVD itself that you're putting in the Blu-ray player is made in Blu-ray, it will never be displayed as Blu-ray. That's the equivalency of hooking up a VHS player to a high-definition TV and then saying it's going to come out in HD just because you're displaying it on an HD monitor. Those points nullify any argument anybody can have. And the reason, now, games can display 4K resolution, but there are very, very few of them. So, for example, one of the people that I was talking about, I came across another video where they're talking about Prototype, the PC game Prototype, being played in 4K. Prototype was never made with 4K, so that's a blatant lie. Prototype was barely made in 18. Prototype doesn't really even have an 1920 by 1920 by whatever the friggin', you get what I'm saying. Hold on a second, I'm kind of like dying here. Hold on. 1920 by 1080. Sorry, I couldn't even think. Prototype doesn't even exist in 1920 by 1080. You literally have to get a fix for that and make it on there because it was never embedded into the game itself. So, people trying to say that you can play prototype in 4K because it's being displayed there have no idea what they're talking about. The prototype itself must be made with 4K, and it wasn't even made with 1020 by 1920 by 1080. And so what happens is, I get labeled as what would be classified as the same as a conspiracy theorist because I'm going against the masses. Oh, you're just doing this and making stuff up, and, you know, what you're thinking doesn't matter. The fact remains that everything I just said is a fact. Because if you're going to say something can be displayed in 4K, then you're saying that a VHS player can be hooked up to an HD TV, and you can play a VHS tape that was never made in that resolution displayed. That's exactly what you're saying. No, it's not. It's not the same. Yeah, actually, it is the exact same thing. So they will say it's not the same to try to justify their end of it. So here's the thing. I focus on reality aspects, not this crap that people put out. I do my research, I look at it, and there have been times where I've said stuff where I've been wrong, where I've come out and said, I am wrong, sorry. That's why I'm very careful about what I say. Like when I was doing the Division lab the other night, I would actually constantly say when I said something, I would look at the camera and say, hey, this is what people said. Because people have a problem with what I'm saying, they will instantly void anything else that goes with what I'm talking about. And so what winds up happening is, like, here's an example. What was happening in the chat the other night was, I said, at this point, it's impossible to differentiate an AI from a player. And I stopped what I said and I says, notice what I said. I says, at this point. I never said it was impossible to do. I said it's impossible at this point. And I said the reason I stress that is because players will say, you said it's impossible, and then try to say I said that for the entire game, and that's not what I said. And I have flat out said stuff like that in my videos, and people still said, you said that's what it says. So that's not what I said. Go back and listen to what I said. I'm very, well, you're just, you're trying to manipulate the wording. I'm like, no, not being possible at this point means at this point it's not possible. How do you take at this point it's not possible and change it into I said it's not even possible at all? And that's the thing, gamers don't listen to what they're saying. So my whole point that got to the chat the other night was, I said, sorry to tell you this, guys, but if this is everything you're doing and you can't see these little things that I'm talking about, then you're just proving that game developers write shit for people who don't know how to read. And one of the things, it just amazes me. I said, I'm not trying to insult you, but you're arguing with me. It proves you don't know how to read. Because I had people actually making stuff up. They were literally making stuff up and saying that they were adding them to the game's, what the game's on-screen instructions were, and then saying the game said it. So I would open up the screen and says, really? The game actually says this? Show me where. They says it says it right there. I says, then you don't know how to read because that doesn't state that. So, for example, what it talked about when it was using weapons or something like that, it was changing weapons or primary or something like that. Sidearm. I had to actually educate the damn chat to what the hell the definition of a sidearm was. And then everyone's like, well, you're just going overboard with that. I'm like, no, I'm telling you what the definition of sidearm is. You guys are making up your own definition of what sidearm is and then saying the game said it. I says, no. So I had to explain the term arm that you're hearing is just a weapon. Any weapon that's on your side is a sidearm. Because I said gamers have now decided that a sidearm only means pistol. I said go look up the word sidearm and you'll find out. It will say usually means it's usually a pistol. But that doesn't apply only to a pistol. I said you guys added that definition to that and then decided that's what it is. So the reason I brought that up is because nowhere does it actually tell you a sidearm in the game is a pistol. It just says your sidearm. Gamers applied sidearm there and then said the game says your pistol is your sidearm. And I opened up the screen and it says swap to your sidearm. It does not say your sidearm is your pistol, nor does it actually tell you to switch it. It just says, it basically the whole instruction literally states, swapping between a primary weapon and a secondary weapon are done like this. Somehow gamers said the game is telling you to swap it, and then what weapon to use. So when I opened up the screen and showed, and then broke it down, it says, no, the game doesn't tell you to swap weapons, it just says, this is how to do it. Where are you getting that the game actually has the word, press this button to swap a weapon now, and then on top of that, what the weapon you're swapping to is. You guys not only said the game is telling you to swap the weapon, but you're saying the game is telling you what weapon to swap to and then what weapon to use. I said, show me where it says that, right here. I said, this is the instruction you guys are talking about. So what happened was, the chat was getting out of control with this, because every time they brought something up, I would point out certain things that what you're talking about doesn't matter. And they would try to use, well, it's obvious. I says, I didn't ask you what you thought. It's a yes or no question. Does the game say this or doesn't it? There's no other way around it. And this is why this is amusing, because this is why people argue with me, because eventually what happened is when I brought up the mod, press X to mod the weapon, that's really when a lot of people went out of their minds with this. And I think the rest of the chat realized that what I just said about the entire game is now correct, because they realized that, wait a minute, that keybind isn't correct, so somebody doing this doesn't work. Now, keeping in mind, throughout the entire stream that I have been doing from start to finish, I point blank stated the whole point to what I'm doing is to prove that anybody who has never picked this game up or played any other games will not be able to read just the information that's on the screen from the developer and use it to play the game. It's not possible. That makes the game 100% unplayable. It also doesn't contain a tutorial or instructions. And despite me saying that countless times, people were still trying to override that, well, it's common sense or this, that, and the other thing. And that's when I brought up the fact, unless everybody does this, it's not explained. Explain means if you put 100 people in front of something, all 100 people will do, whatever it says. But the fact remains is if you have a flashing button on the screen, and you put 100 people in front of it, 50 people will press it, 50 people won't press it. Which means it's not explained. Because if you only have half of the people pressing it, that clearly proves something is wrong with the instruction. Now, the people that pressed it will try to argue it's explained just because it's flashing on the screen and somehow they got it into their head that means press it. The people that are actually relying on what to do here will look at it and say, that doesn't mean press it. Where were you told to press it? Well, it's flashing on the screen. That's you saying to press it. They're not asking what you decided to do. They're asking you, where did you get the instruction to press it? Flashing on the screen means to do that. Then they'll repeat the question. The question isn't asking what they decided to look at and do. The question is there a text message on the screen that says, press this flashing button? Because without that, flashing doesn't mean pressing. People take it upon themselves to say that means it, but unless you were actually told by the person who put that flashing button on the screen to press it, it doesn't mean to do anything, and it doesn't mean not to do anything. So both sides will be right and both sides will be wrong. However, it doesn't change the fact that if it was explained, all 100 people would do it. So, again, if you put a flashing icon on the screen and you put 100 people in front of it, 50 people will press it, 50 people won't. However, if you put a flashing icon on the screen with a statement that says, press this flashing button, put 100 people in front of it, then 100 people will do it. As long as our visuals don't make something explained. It doesn't. Because there are people who can't use a visual. So when you're using the terminology, explanations, and tutorials, those literally mean all of the steps are provided in easy to understand fashion so everybody understands it. Everybody understanding it means all 100 people will press it, not half of them. So when gamers use the term tutorial or instructions, they are misusing the word because they're ripping the definitions out of what they want it to be and then trying to say. Now, I'm not arguing that there is such a thing as visual cues. That's not the argument. The argument is you're not told to do it, so don't try to use visual clues that only a certain percentage of the population understands as trying to say it's explained. You can't do that. That doesn't mean it's explained. That only means it's explained to the people who take visual clues. What about the rest of the people that aren't pressing it? So they will turn around and tell them that they're dumb. Or that they're idiots. Or they shouldn't be playing the game. Or they should uninstall it. What? Because, no, again, this is the training wheel comment. You don't need training wheels, so nobody else does? Really? Who are you to dictate what somebody needs? And instead of realizing that the whole problem can be solved to get everybody to press it by putting an instruction on the screen that says press this flashing button, they argue. So it's interesting now that once you realize that the information that I talk about actually applies, because you can't remove what I'm talking about. Learning comes in 3 different forms: visual, audio, and then touch. I can't remember the last one, but there's 3 different ways people learn. And unless all 3 of those things are in there, you will never get 100% of the people doing anything. Gamers, a lot of people who play MMOs will start taking stuff from other games into this and then say it's explained. But here's the thing. Why that can't be used as an excuse is because the game that you're currently playing isn't the previous games. It doesn't even matter if it's in a series. I need to figure out what I need to do next. So I'm not here to, I don't debate things. I just pull things apart and show this is it. And then if you're gonna actually argue with me, I'm gonna pull out comparisons you can't get around. Because I'll nullify the argument. I will set it up so the argument gets nullified no matter which end of it you use. Then people will start saying, oh, what you're saying isn't a fact. It's like, all right, buddy. If I pull up a screen and the screen doesn't have instructions on it, it's a fact that doesn't have instructions on it. You can't use visual clues only to say that it's explained. It's either explained or it's not. Explain means everybody that reads it, everybody that looks at it's going to do it. That's the 100 people thing. So when you do that, let me see. I gotta kill somebody in the air with a bow. So I gotta go to a fort. So it's interesting to, like, once you start, if people can step back long enough without getting offended by anything I'm saying because I'm ripping apart something that they love or whatever it is, and realize what I'm talking about, you'll see that everything I'm saying is correct. You just have to be able to separate yourself. Here's a case in point. I'm not biased against what games I do. I love this game. I love it. This game's great. Guess what? On my channel, there's a shitty development part of this because this game isn't explained either. So people are like, oh, I'm more apt to attack a game that I don't like. But I'm not biased about what is or isn't explained. I went into detail about what's wrong with this game too. I don't hold back. Just because it's a game I like, I'm not going to stop and say there's nothing wrong with it, because there is. There's a ton of things wrong with this game. Again, I'm not biased against things. So if it's a game I like, it doesn't change the fact that it's not explained. It doesn't matter what I can do. Game developers didn't explain it. I'm going to pick it apart and show why. Show where. I'm going to show what you're talking about isn't well put together. So it was funny because I think I got the same clash of crap from the people that did the Division. I mean, from the Division that I was playing the other night, as I did from the Mass Effect community when I originally put my videos up. I put the videos up about the Mass Effect, how bad that is, and the entire community attacked me. Alright, that's another word I love. See, here's a case in point. I actually looked up what that word means. Nub. That person who just wrote nub inside the chat complimented me, because nub actually means a vital part of an idea or an experiment. So you just basically told me I was needed. Thanks. So here's a case in point example of somebody using a word without knowing what they're talking about just because everybody else uses it. Somebody's like, oh, you're a nerd, you looked that up. Yeah, I did look it up because I wanted to know if you knew what you were actually talking about or just blindly copying somebody else that didn't know what they were talking about. Nub actually stands for a vital part of an idea or an experiment. When you're using it in this context, you're trying to basically use it as an insult. And it's not an insult, it's actually a compliment. So you didn't even use the word properly, I'm assuming. Now, here's the case. Bad assumption on my part because he never told me how he was using it. So I'm using the usual principle that people say in the same fashion, you're a troll. There's no other way that word has ever been used in an MMO or online game. That doesn't mean that it changes the fact of the definitions, but you can safely assume he's using it that way, and that's the argument gamers use. I never said that because what they will try to do is says, I never said that, and everything you just went over. You're right, that's why I'm stopping him saying. He never told me he was using it nice, so I'm using it the way the generalized public actually uses it in games. It's as an insult. Now, that doesn't make it an insult, it's just funny to watch. There we go, Archer of the Month, got it. No, you can just be saying something in the chat. Now, I don't even know who he's talking to. He could be talking to anybody. Oops, I got desynced. Alright, so anyway, what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to wind up temporarily ending this stream for this particular game because I've gotten out of the way the achievements I wanted to get out of the way with this. Because now the rest of them are just, I can just do with whatever. I don't need a specific ability tree set up to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end the stream. And I'm going to probably wind up making a Guild Wars 2. I'm going to rip apart Guild Wars 2 is what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip that right apart. And I'm going to rip it apart the same way I did the Division. And so if you want to come back later, probably at about, I don't know, like 11:15 or 11:30. I'll say 11:30 to be safe. I might start it earlier than that. But I'm going to wind up doing that. I'm going to wind up ripping apart Guild Wars 2. Because I'm going to show people how badly put together that game is. Now, the reason I'm doing Guild Wars 2 is because I fucking hate AreaNet. I can't fucking stand them. I can't stand them in the same fashion I can't stand the guards in this game. And so, what happened is the reason I hate, just a quick rundown on why I'm going to rip that game apart. I'm going to rip it apart really hard the same way I did the Division. Is because when Guild Wars 1 came out, that game was so bad. That is the top #1 game of worst programming of all time. I have a list of top 5s. I have put that at #1. Mass Effect 2 is in the #3 slot. Was in the #2 slot until Guild Wars 2 came out, which made it even worse because it's basically the same company. I call it the same company. Even though it may not be made directly by the same company, AreaNet, I freaking hate them. I can't stand them. So what I'm going to do is I'm really going to trash AreaNet, but I'm not trashing it because I don't like them. I don't like them, so that's the main reason I'm doing the video. I am going to trash the game because the game is piss poorly put together. So I'm putting aside my bias, but my bias is what's making me make this video, so I want to be clear about that. And so, in Guild Wars 1, I spent 54 hours in that game, and 52 of those hours was spent me asking how to do something in the game. That game was so piss poorly put together, you couldn't even figure out who the hell the player was or where they were. Somebody would be like, oh, why don't you, if you join my party, I'm like, okay. I would, but the game never explained to me how to join a party. And it was just like people, obviously people in MMOs are just dumb anyway. That's what they do. You know, you ask somebody, hey, who teaches this? And they'll tell you a trainer. Okay, where's the trainer located? In a house. You know, those are the types of answers you'll get. But you have to remember there's a couple different types of people that play online games or games in general. There's people who troll. Then there's people who will say they want to help you, but realize that, you know, even after playing it, they realize that what you're talking about is true, and then they don't want to get into it because they're afraid the community is going to attack them, despite they even know that that what I'm saying is right. And then you actually have the people who literally believe a screen with no instructions has somehow printed instructions on it. Like, they actually believe that. So it's just, that's the main reason I'm pulling up Guild Wars 2, because it's so ridiculous. It's asinine. I mean, I've been told I should know things about, you're a liar because you have this many points. I'm like, what the hell are you even talking about? Stuff that doesn't need, that I don't even know what the hell they're talking about on. And then using, you know, trying to use levels or whatever it is to, I don't even know why people in MMOs, you know, say, you know, well, I left and I came back for 2 hours later and you're sitting here and still at level 4. I said to somebody, listen, if I want to sit around in a certain, if I want to take off all my armor and prance around the middle of a town in my skibbies, yelling out for an hour and a half, hey, I'm not going anywhere and I'm not leveling, I will. That's none of your business. And why are you, so I'm not leveled, so I have to play the way you're telling me to play? Really? I said, if I want to do that, why do you care? Making a big announcement that you're not level 2, I'm like, yeah, so what? And? So what? I'm not leveled. If I want to do that, that's my prerogative. I paid for the game. I can do whatever I paid for the license right to use the game. I'll just do whatever I want. So why are you getting mad, or why are you trying to point out in the generalized chat, trying to verbally assault somebody like that with a pointless and idiotic statement that doesn't have anything to do with anything, acting like you're all big and bad? Great, you leveled 5 levels. So how do you know I didn't buy the game just to stomp around in the well, that's not what the game is for. It's an open world game. I can use it for whatever I feel like it. Who you? So that's the stuff I'm talking about, you know. So I'm gonna start going after Guild Wars 2, probably about 11:30. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wind up closing the stream down now, and then I'm gonna put some music on, and you guys can listen to whatever you want. Well, I'm gonna play it, and then once it comes down to about 11:30, I'll probably, if I start the stream earlier, I will, but probably going to start it no later than 11:30, and I'll probably stream that for like an hour and a half or something, just to really rip apart the game. So I'll talk to you guys later, and again, I'm going to end this and then start some music. So if you want to hang out, cool. If you don't, cool. Either way, I'll see you guys later, and thanks for stopping by. I appreciate this support and everything else. And again, I want to make mention that on Monday, May 1st, if all goes well, my stream quality should be jacked up significantly according to what it is now, because my upload speed on my internet's going from 5 megabytes up to 35. So that's for that particular thing. It's not like a gig, you know, but it's still going to improve it significantly. So I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see you guys around 11:30 or so. Take care, guys. Thanks a lot.